Hello everybody and welcome back to Algebra 1 Honors Lesson 2-3. Today we're going to be talking about rules for addition. Okay, in your book you'll see that there's 5 rules, but we can take them and condense them down to just 2 main rules of addition. And that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so let's look at the very first rule. The very first rule entails signs that are the same. We have 2 numbers that we're adding together that have the same sign. Either positive, right here, or negative. And here's what the rule says. When you have, okay, this rule says when you have the same signs, okay, so let's put this up here. Rule 1. When you have the same signs, all you have to do is to add the absolute value or the number without the sign. Add the numbers without the signs, okay, is to add the numbers together and then keep the sign of the number, the numbers. Keep the sign of the numbers. And here's how that works. Alright. Let's look at this. If I had a plus 2 plus a plus 3, my rule says what we do is we forget about the sign at the very first step, and we just add the numbers together if they have the same sign. So 2 plus 3 gives me a 5. And then we take the sign of the numbers, which is, in this case, positive. Now over here, conversely, if I had a negative 7 plus a positive 5.
Negative.
Oh, they're the same sign. Sorry, negative. Okay, they have the same sign, they're negative, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just temporarily forget about their signs, and I'm going to add them together. 7 plus 5 is 12. So 7 plus 5 is going to give me a 12, and then I go back and I look at their signs, and they're negative, and I make it negative. And that works for every single problem here, for this one and for this one. Okay. Ooh. All right. Now, the second rule deals with what happens when you have 2 different signs. Okay, well, let's look at that. When you have 2 different signs, and it works like this. Okay, this is rule number 2. Okay, and this is different when you have different signs. When you have different signs, what do? Okay? When you have different signs, here's what you do. Again, the very first step is we're going to forget about the signs, okay, the plus and the minus in this one. So when you have a different, let's say we have a negative 7, a big plus here, a plus 3. Temporarily, what we're going to do is we're going to forget about the signs, the different signs in front of each number, and we're going to subtract the smaller number from the larger number. Okay? If I just take the sign away here, I've got a 7 and I've got a 3. So if I subtract 7 minus 3, I'm going to get a 4. Now, to get the sign of the number, we have to go back and look at the problem, and we take the number without the sign, the largest number, and whatever sign is attached to the largest number, that's the sign we assign to our number here. So in this case, we have a plus 3, 3, and 7. 7's bigger than 3, in front of the 7 is a negative number. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say this is negative 4. Okay, now another way to do this, if you don't like rules, okay, you can do it this way. You can do it my army technique. Okay, these little dudes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is an army. And they're going against the positive guys, plus, plus, and plus. Now, when a positive and a negative get together, they smash and collide and they cause an atomic reaction and they both disintegrate. So these guys are going to go together and woofo, they're going to disintegrate. Bam, bam, bam. What do I have left over? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 negative guys. Okay, so this illustrates our rule. So let's just hash this over. If you have two signs that are different, we look and we subtract the smaller numerical value from the larger one. We kind of forget about the signs. We get a number and then we look to see which one of these numerical values is bigger, and we take the sign of that. Right now, there's one problem that's just a little bit different. What if I had this? A plus 2 plus a negative 2. Okay, well, if we follow my rule, because these are the same, okay, we don't really have a smaller value. So we're going to subtract both of them from each other. So in this case, I'm going to get 2 minus 2, and that gives me a 0. And when I look at it, I don't have a numerical value that's bigger than 2. They're both 2, and they're a plus or minus. But everybody knows that there's no such thing as plus 0 or minus 0. 0 is always 0. So I could say this guy could be negative 0 or this guy could be plus 0. No such thing. They're always going to be 0. So in this case, it's going to be 0. This is a special case, and if we drew it like our fighting men, we would see that when these guys collided, there'd be nothing left. Nothing but a big old goose egg. And that's all there is for lesson
2-3.
2-3.